Why do people feel anxious when exchange rates begin to waver? When the rates rise or fall, people immediately think of the numbers. But the true nature of the anxiety we feel is not about the money itself. What people truly fear is the sensation that the time they have lived has lost its meaning. The hours spent working hard, saving, and enduring for the sake of the future. When the value of that time feels as though it could vanish overnight, people become restless before the shifting rates. An exchange rate is not built in a day, nor is it a figure determined by a single mistake. It is the result of how well a society has kept its promises, carried its responsibilities, and how often it has repeated falsehoods, accumulating over a long period into a single digit. Thus, an exchange rate is not so much a predictor of the future as it is a report card of past choices. The fear people experience when the rate collapses is often universal. Could what I have believed in all this time be wrong? Can I continue to trust this promise in the future? These questions arise naturally, not from a doubt in money, but when trust in people and society begins to falter. As enough time passes, the exchange rate reveals its simplest form. The currency of a society that honors its promises slowly maintains its value, while the currency of a society plagued by lies and evasion eventually loses all trust. This is not merely an economic theory, but rather the consequence of how we choose to live. An individual cannot change the exchange rate, yet one can choose one thing: what promises to keep, what tasks to devote time to, and what choices to repeat throughout one's life. When these choices accumulate, a reputation is born that this person is trustworthy, and that reputation becomes a personal credit that holds value anywhere. Therefore, what remains a century from now is not a graph of exchange rates. It is how a society treated the time of its people, and how an individual chose to spend their own time. Ultimately, the question that remains is this asterisk. It is not how much we earned, but what kind of time we have lived through. Maintaining an attitude that never loses sight of this question. That is the true exchange rate that survives the longest.